Right now, there is a team at this World Cup that nobody wants to face, and it is not the one you think. Germany has won both of their opening matches, scored 9 goals, and secured their place in the knockout stage with remarkable ease. That should concern every contender, because history has repeatedly shown that when Germany stops seeking attention and simply starts winning, they become one of the most dangerous teams in the tournament.
Now relying on passes. Oh, the flicks! Oh, it's so good!
Let me set the table for you, because this tournament is enormous and Germany are making it look small. The 2026 World Cup is the biggest in history. 48 teams spread across the United States, Canada, and Mexico, 104 matches, packed stadiums roaring from Houston to Toronto to New Jersey, and a planet locked onto every single kickoff. It is loud, it is sprawling, it is chaos. And into all that noise, Germany has walked with the calm of a team that already knows something the rest of the field does not. They opened in Houston and put 7 goals past Curacao, the smallest nation ever to reach a World Cup. Then, in Toronto against the Ivory Coast, they fell behind, had 2 goals chalked off, rode their luck for an hour, and still won 2-1 in the dying minutes. 6 points from 6 available, a place in the round of 32 with a full game to spare, and a winning streak that now runs deep into double figures. The thing that should scare you is not the scorelines. It is the temperament underneath them. The old Germany used to dominate the ball and somehow lose the match. This new one looks comfortable, being uncomfortable, looks at home when the game turns ugly, and that is a far more dangerous trait to carry into a knockout bracket than any pretty passing move. What nobody is saying out loud yet is the quiet part. The favorites can already see the draw forming. They can already see which half of the bracket this team is falling into. And not one of them wants Germany anywhere near their road to the final. To feel why this matters, you have to remember where these men were standing 4 years ago. In Russia in 2018, the defending champions lost to South Korea and flew home before the knockouts even began. In Qatar in 2022, they lost their opener to Japan, drew with Spain, and crashed out again on goal difference, while creating more clear chances than almost anybody at the entire tournament. They were brilliant and broken at the same time, and the whole world watched it happen in real time. Joshua Kimmich lived through both of those nights. He is the captain now, and there is a line of his that I cannot shake, because he admitted that across his whole international career, he had never once even reached the knockout stage of a World Cup. Think about what that does to a man like him, one of the most respected players in all of Europe, a winner of almost everything at club level, and the World Cup had only ever shown him the exit door. The deeper wound was never tactical. Germany did not just lose 2 tournaments and shrug. They lost the belief that wearing that shirt at a World Cup meant something automatic, that old aura that used to make opponents flinch before the whistle even blew. That belief is the thing they flew across the ocean to win back. And you cannot understand a single goal they have scored at this tournament without first understanding the size of what they lost. The men who carried that shame were quietly handed something even heavier before this World Cup began, because the legends who used to shield them all chose to walk away at the very same moment. Standing on the touchline is a 38-year-old who is the youngest coach at this entire World Cup. Julian Nagelsmann had his playing career ended by a knee injury at the age of 20, and instead of vanishing into the crowd, he became the youngest manager in Bundesliga history and clawed his way up to the biggest job his country has to offer. His whole idea is a rebellion against everything Germany had become. The team that won in 2014 passed the ball to death, patient and slow, and eventually easy to predict. Nagelsmann tore that page up completely. He wants his players to win the ball high up the pitch, change speed in a single heartbeat, and attack before the other side can even catch its breath. It is vertical, it is fast, and across 90 minutes in this summer heat, it is genuinely punishing to play against. That choice tells you exactly who this man is. He looked at a country still terrified of losing one more time, and told them that the cure was to take more risk, not less. Most coaches in his chair would have parked the bus and prayed for penalties and a kind draw. He did the opposite, in front of a watching world. with his entire reputation balanced on the outcome. That is not a tactical tweak you scribble on a whiteboard. That is a personality that simply refuses to be afraid. For his bold new machine to actually fire, though, Nagelsmann needed his two young geniuses fit and on the pitch at the same time. And for nearly 2 long years, that one simple wish had felt completely out of reach. Florian Wirtz and Jamal Musiala were both born in 2003. And when they play together, this Germany side turns into something the rest of the field cannot live with. They drift into the same patches of grass. They pass like they are sharing one brain. And good defenders end up chasing shadows across the pitch until the legs and the patience run out. Wirtz arrived at this tournament carrying a price tag that tells you how the game now sees him. Liverpool paid around £116 million for him last summer, a record fee, and his first season in England was a grind that had plenty of people back home quietly worried about him. Musiala carried a different weight entirely. He missed the last World Cup hurt, then suffered a frightening broken leg and a dislocated ankle that cost him months of his career, and very nearly stole his place at this one too. So, when both of them stride out fit and free, after all of that, it is not just good news for a coach filling in a team sheet. It is 2 young men who lost real time to real pain choosing to spend their comeback on the grandest stage the sport owns. Musiala has already scored at this World Cup. Wirtz has been pulling defensive lines apart in every match. Watching them dance together, you completely forget that you are looking at 2 recovery stories stitched back together. The strange truth of this German team is that their most expensive star and their flashiest talent were not even the man who ended up deciding the most important match of the tournament so far. When Germany was trailing the Ivory Coast and the ghosts of Qatar were creeping right back into the picture, Nagelsmann turned to his bench and sent on Deniz Undav. What followed was the kind of story you simply could not write in advance. Undav scored in the 68th minute to level it, then struck again in the dying seconds to win the whole thing, and drag Germany into the knockout rounds. You really should know where this man came from. Undav was released by Werder Bremen as a boy for the crime of being too small. He spent years grinding through the lower leagues of German football, even working a normal job on a factory floor while chasing a dream that almost everyone around him would have quietly buried. He is the first player of Yazidi heritage ever to represent Germany at a major tournament. And he reached this stage by refusing every single time the game looked him in the eye and told him no. That is exactly why the late winner landed so hard. A squad stuffed with £100 million talent was rescued by the one player nobody believed in for half of his life. The richest collection of attackers in the entire group was saved by its most stubborn member. And there is a quiet justice in that which I genuinely love to watch unfold. For all the joy of that comeback, the way Germany fell behind in the first place pointed straight at the one flaw that could still tear this entire dream apart at the worst possible moment. Now, the honest part, because a real preview owes you the truth, and not just the noise and the highlights. Germany is dangerous, but they are not bulletproof. When their fullbacks push high and Wirtz and Musiala both press at the same time, they leave a gap behind them the size of a car park. Quick, ruthless teams can drive straight through that space on the counter, and that is the exact wound that killed them in both 2018 and 2022. The evidence is already sitting right there in this tournament. They conceded to Curaçao, an island of about 156,000 people. They fell behind to Ivory Coast on precisely that kind of fast, direct break. The talent up front is so loud that it can drown out the trouble at the back, but the trouble has not gone anywhere, and the giants left in this bracket have very good ears and very fast forwards. That is what makes them so thrilling to watch right now. This is not a finished, flawless machine gliding smoothly toward the trophy. This is a fearless, slightly reckless team that can hang 7 goals on you or get caught dozing on the counter, sometimes in the very same week. France still sit ahead of them in the betting. Spain and Brazil and Argentina are all lurking somewhere in that draw, and Germany are still listed as outsiders, which somehow only makes the threat feel more real and more fun. They have already buried the group stage curse that haunted them for 8 long years, and they have done it with a whole match to spare. The hosts and the heavyweights are all still out there waiting in the dark of that bracket, and this young, fearless, deeply flawed German team is about to find out whether being dangerous is the same thing as being ready. So drop your verdict down in the comments and tell me exactly what you are feeling. Germany lifting this entire thing in a few weeks, or that crack at the back undoing them one more painful time before the end.